Wait, where is it? WebSockets. Okay, here. What is a WebSockets? Can someone confirm if you can see the shared screen? Kita ninyo?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good. So this is the overview. WebSockets. This is actually the handshaking or handshaking for a server and a client. So generally speaking, this is a communication between a client and a server. So this is a protocol being used. It was introduced in 2011. So bago-bago pa na siya. Introduce na sila because there is a need for this type of protocols in order for a server and a client to communicate seamlessly. So here, handshaking can be defined as gripping or shaking of right of hands of two individuals. So in computer, it is just a communication of a client and a server. So here's an illustration. One itong illustration. We have server, then we have desktop, smartphones, and tablets. Now here are our clients and pwede na silang duha magka-communicate. Now, sa una sir, nga mga application na to sir before we introduce the WebSockets, doon na po sila is there a protocol nga gigamit ana niya? Yes. We are using the HTTP, especially in the in the wide area networking, 'di ba? Now, for example, katong mga chat nato naa sa ato ang Facebook, okay? If you're familiar with Friendster sa una, kung na yung mga chat, MIRC sa una, kung na yung mga chat. So it uses also other protocols to communicate between the two server and the client. So nagnaga po to sila mga protocols. But they are not using yet the the WebSockets protocol because it is just being introduced nisa katong mga 2011. Now here, the WebSockets definition, unsa man na siya? It is a two-way communication. Maura, two-way communication. Now, the key points of WebSockets are true concurrency and optimization of performance, resulting in a more responsive and rich web applications. So if you want to create a web applications that is responsive, rich in performance, and if you want to optimize its performance, it is rich, it's more responsive. You can use WebSockets. Unsa man kay gamit ani niya? Anong introduce man ni siya? Because ang may tabo magod sa una, especially like the HTTP, now may tabo na niya is the client will ask the server, adto sa server, mo request siya dito. Then the server will tell, okay, mao ni siya. Then cut off ang imong linya. After the server will send the data, cut off, poop, putol. Then mo request na po the client. Then the server also will respond the client, will open a communication for them or a tunnel between the client and the server. So every time the client will ask, so mo open ang server, then maputol, mo open ang server, maputol. It depends on the server, how the server works. But this one is very hard for the server. It's laborious for the server. What if our client is daghan kaayo? And if that happens, ang server kalinga mo open og path para sa client. So laborious kayo sa server. That is why they introduced this WebSocket. It is a two-way communication between the servers and the clients. Once there is a connection, maputol na ng connection unless maputol ang connection if the client will say mana or if the server will say mana. If not, the communication or the the path between the client and the server is always open. Kung ang atong kuanon pa niya, ang iyang port. So, open ni kaling ang port. Sige, ano nga, okay, manira. Hantod nga, moingon siya nga, wa na connection, turn off na nato. We are going to close the WebSockets. Then that's the time na dili na pwede maka-communicate ang duha, not unless mo open o balik. So this one is a two-way communication. When we talk about two-way communication, wait lang ha, kanay pa mo. When we say two-way communication, it unsa may yung nasabtan kung two-way communication? Be, unsa kanyong nasabtan og may kag two-way communication? Bisag asa, di ba? Kung ang server mo storya pwede, kung ang client mo storya pwede. Kay two-way communication man. So this is how a WebSocket works. Two-way communication meaning kung unsay changes gikan sa clients, maopoy may tabo dito sa server. For example, mingon maggamit kinta ka o kanang mag-update kita mo for example, mag-update mo og kanang document. So pag erase nimo sa letter F dinhi sa client dito sa server nga side na erase dayon ang letter F. All it is called real time. Unlike the older protocols is that kung mag-utro kag document, inig-utro mo sa document nimo, after some time kung ang imong application mo ping dito sa server nga i-save na siya dito sa kuan, usa pa mautro ang file nga naa sa server or the actual file, di ba? But in WebSockets, it's different. If the file is being opened by using WebSockets, kung yung gi-erase mo ang letter F sa imong document, automatic ang metabo sa pikas nga file, i-erase po niya ang letter F. Real time. Real time is siya. Dilingon nga, after some time pa, inig-save pa nimo usap pa mga anong changes. So, in real time. For example, Google Drive. Di ba? Nakakuan mo sa Google Drive. Anyone is using Google Drive. Nakagamit mo Google Drive? I'm sure
Yes,
nagkagamit
sir.
mo.
Sir, yes.
No. Okay. Okay. Google Drive is very, very nice actually. I'm exploiting the Google Drive. Now, Google Drive can sync files. So, ang gibuhat na ko, instead of syncing my documents for every computer I have, kaya kung magamit ka Google Drive, kung good kay magama siya o folder para sa kada usa nimo ka computer. So, akong i-exploit siya. Instead of doing that, adto ra sa my drive. Kato sa root nga directory ba, my drive. So, I put all my files there sa tanan akong computer dito sa my drive. So every time I will use a computer, automatic mo sync siya dito. But what happens in Google Drive is that it will take some time. So karon imong giotro imong file mo. Pag human mo otro gi-save nimo after some time na niya kung kanus ang imong kung kapila ka seconds ang iyang pagping dito sa server, usap pa niya i-update or ini kahuman nimo save sa file, usap pa niya i-update. Ana siya. So in WebSockets is different. Different siya. Palitan kung gi-open nimong files, gi-erase nimo dito, automatic na po dito nga gi-erase po dito. Kung pag-save nimo man na, automatic save na po dito. So it will not there is no katawag o kanang time difference. Real time ang iyang changes. So WebSockets, mas nindot ni siya gamiton sa imong web page if you have kana bitaw mag-streaming ka, streaming. So sa paspas na siya instead of the HTTP nga gamiton nimo nga hinay. So paspas na siya. And nganong paspas man siya? Here, this is the description of WebSockets atong tanawon. Because these protocols define a full duplex communication from the ground up. So full duplex, meaning dili maghuwat sa pikas as long as there is a communication or the pathway, dili na siya maghuwat sa pikas. Kung unsay imong gi-change na automatic mo apoy sa pikas. Kana mo kung sa Google Drive is half duplex siya, mura bag kung kanus ani mo i-save, usa pa siya usa pa siya mo ET, usa pa siya mo phone home pack, usa pa ni i-upload. Once ma-upload mo change. Kato siya inig-save mo diri mao pinitabo sa Pikas. So that is the advantage because it is a full duplex communication. I'm not, I do not know if uh, nakamatikod ba mo sa Facebook? Have you kanang experience in Facebook na if someone is writing a text to you, makita nimo nga naay murag pen nga nagsuwat. Nakita mo sa Facebook naka-experience mo na nga kung mo kung musuwat kung mo type ang usa ka person nga ka-chat nimo then doon na siya nga murag mo mugawas nga murag na ay pen kung suwat. Some chat applications will have that kind of uh, let's say animation in their chat box. Na if someone is writing, doon ay murag mugawas nga nagsuwat pa na siya. Nagsuwat pa na siya. Then paghuman, mingundang. Kaya naman, swipe mo siya man, mingundang na po siya. Murag dugay man na siya kayo makasend og message. Oy, maybe taas na siya og text. So it is just like that. Makita nimo kung unsay it's in real time. Now, now when when we say WebSockets, sir, sa asa na siya magamit, sir? Uh, the WebSockets, okay, is this is actually intended for browsers. So ang para sa browsers na siya. Meaning, katong mga nasa applications that are web-based will be benefited aning WebSockets. And the main feature of WebSockets are as follows. WebSocket protocol is being standardized, which means all real-time communication between web servers and clients is possible with the help of this protocol. WebSockets are transforming to cross-platform standard for real-time communication between a client and the server. This standard enables new kind of applications. Businesses for real-time web applications can speed up with the help of this technology. The biggest advantage of WebSocket is it provides a two-way communication full duplex over single TCP connection. So these are the main features of WebSockets. For its URL, now its TTP has its own set of schemas such as HTTP and HTTPS. For WebSockets, it uses WS. May gamit siya og WS. Now, here, this is our schema here, WS. This is the host, and this is the port that we're using, and this is the server, or this is the file that where our programs or our codes resides. You can use PHP because this one is web for web-based man siya. Here, here it is. The latest specification of WebSockets protocol is defined as RFC 6455, a proposed standard. Now, i- okay, maybe you will ask, giun sa man na sir nga, nganong nakakita man sila og WebSockets, nganong naa may HTTP, mong kana may itong gamiton, kinsa may nagsitog standard ana niya. Na siya gitawag og Internet Engineer Task Force, IETF, IETF, Internet Engineer Task Force. So sa ilang buhaton nila. Now, what they are going to do or their job is simply create a standard for all internet communications or internet protocols. Basta kay anything that has something to do with internet, these are the body who create a standard. So sila may nag-create og standard. On early days of using the internet, they found out nga ang server luoy kayo, maburden kayong server, especially if the client is so many in terms of communication, Now, of course, kung dahil server, you need to communicate with the server. Even if you're going to communicate with other clients, muagig server. Di ba? Sa client to client ka, muagi siya server. Dili na ingon nga mular ko sa client. So the IETF or Internet Engineering Task Force mag-create sila og kanang mga standard. And they actually using the RFC. RFC din the version kung unsa ni siya nga code para asa na siya. Request for comment kaning RFC is the it stands for request for comment. It is a document. It is actually a document intended for the standard of a protocol or anything that involves internet. So RFC, request for comment. Ang number niya is 6455. Now, this RFC 6455, which is the WebSockets, is now supported from the major browsers, Firefox, Google Chrome, Safari, and Opera. Even the Internet Explorer back then. Kaya karon pa man ang Microsoft Edge. So so the IETF or Internet Engineering Task Force created a standard nga ingon sila nga kani nga atong gitawag og WebSockets pwede na nato ni magamit as a protocol used to communicate between a server and a client. So pwede na nato na siya magamit. So sila may nagbuot, sila may nagkuan. And in the RFC also, this is just a document. As I said earlier, document na siya. Yan, pwede po ka, kung kam-audio kag programming, pwede po kami, na murag, dunay something, ani nga murag, ka na i-change. But actually, kung mahimo na siya nga, approved na siya nga RFC, then a number, a code, it means nga, mao na standard na siya, dili na pwede ma-outro, madungagan, makuhaan, not unless you are going to create another protocol that will supersede that protocol or that standard. So ang sa IETF or Internet Engineering Task Force, magama sila mga RFC. Once nga ma-upload nila ang RFC, ma-automatic na siya nga it will become a standard. If there will be no changes, waya mo changes ana niya. Not unless, as I said, not unless you will create another that will supersede this type of standard. In this case, protocol man. So, kung kung mo supersede ani nga protocol or kung mulabaw ani nga protocol or if you can find nga this protocol mo breach og mga security. No, doon na sila tako kayo security nga breach ang imong gigama nga protocol which in doubt kay kuan ba sila limang kagilang pangan silang grupo kay IEF Internet Engineering Task Force. So daghan gyud na sila magama na nila. And the developer for web browsers, they supported this one. So ang mga browsers like Google, Chrome, Safari, they supported the WebSockets protocol. So may gamit ano sila. Okay, so that is the WebSockets. Any questions so far for our WebSockets, for our introduction for WebSockets? By the way, in this subject, I'm just going to introduce to you WebSockets and probably some codes on how to enable WebSockets. Then it's up to you to integrate that one in the language that you are comfortable of. So comfortable man nga language, inyong introduce ang WebSockets and then yeah. But my examples would be on HTML5 and GS, JavaScript, kanara kung i-example ninyo ihatag. And kamo na gamit kung sa inyong ganahan. Okay? Any questions so far for the first introduction of WebSockets? Damo tayo mga pangutana din na? Answer? Okay, so we proceed. Proceed sa ta. Okay, next would be hold on. Just going to open my next is this one. Duplex communication. Kaya nag-isgot mo tatagay nag-duplex communication, probably atong isgutan na siya nga noon sa ng duplex communication. So we have here. By the way, this subject, dili kaya na siya more on programming. It is more on discussion on what is WebSockets. But doon ay a part programming, but not purely programming. Hold on. Okay, I think in our LMS, wala na ako na siya nahatag. So ako na isang ay butang sa LMS. Duplex communication using WebSockets. Before we are going to study WebSockets, maybe we're going to study first what are the duplex communications that being used by the server and the client. They are as following. We have pooling, long pooling, streaming, postback, and AJAX, HTML5. So these are the duplex communication. Now, you notice nga HTML5, di ba? Or streaming. So, nagamit na sila. Now, pooling can be defined as a method which performs periodic requests regardless of the data that exists in the transmission. The periodic request the client makes a periodic request in a specific time interval to the server. The response of the server includes available data or some warning message in it. So this is a full duplex. Now you will notice that there is a time periodic request regardless of the data that exists in the transmission. So kanang Google Drive, that is a periodic request. Periodic ang request anang imong Google Drive. After some time, mo upload ang isiya, whatever changes nga gigama nimo. So mo na example of pooling. The periodic requests are sent in a synchronous way. So synchronous way, either the client or the server. The response of the server includes available data or something warning message in it. Have you have you tried or experienced this one nga nigamit mo Google Drive file sa inyong Google Drive ninyo unya inyuhang gi gi-open or i-modify ninyo then gi-move nimo into another folder without saving di ba kay maingon or imong gi-move imong gi-delete di ba kay maingon mo warning nimo ang server maingon siya nga kani kay gi-move ra ba ni gi-move ni siya onya naran nimo kung imo pa ning i, i patay mo gi-delete so siya nga gi-delete na siya tuwa sa trash can naran nimo kung imo ba ning i-undelete but after pila ka days ma-remove na siya didto maingon ni ang server nimo. So this is pooling na siya. There's a periodic request regardless of the data that exists in the transmission. The long pooling, similar like pooling, but takes time, okay? Until such data switch or timeout occurs. So the client and the server keep the connection active until such data is switched or timeout occurs. For example, kaning atong Google Drive. So sige na sila og pool. Na sila pooling. Sige sa dito. Until mo sign out ka. Once you sign out, automatic ang imong connection niya wala na mo. Now if you made changes on your Google Drive, gama kasi sa mong Google Drive na magi-save na mo dito, it is saved locally. Kay imo na magi-turn off ang imong Google Drive pag sync ka na niya. Once you turn on the Google Drive, it will automatically sync your files because it has this periodic request. Do na siya periodic request. It is similar lang gyapon sa long polling. Okay? Parehas na sila but kani siya is periodic man. So once ka mahitabo, waya mo na pod imo exist ang communication, wa na pod. Long pulling automatic ang connection alive. Unya once ka mahuman na ka or mo sign out ka, dili na. Okay? Long polling is nothing but performance improvement over polling process, but constant request may slow down the process. Uh, the next one is streaming. It is considered as the best option for real-time data transmission. The server keeps the connection open and active with the client unless the required data is being fetched. In this case, the connection is said to be open indefinitely. Streaming includes HTTP headers, which increase the file size, increasing delay. This can be considered as a major drawback. So, although streaming is almost the same as WebSockets, okay, real time man ang iyang data transmission, but it creates or as much as possible if there's a transmission na niya, kinang dili dagko ang imong mga files. Now, in streaming, it includes HTTP headers, which includes the file size. Now, this can be considered as a major drawback in streaming. Although real-time ang iyang data transmission, but there is a drawback ana niya. That is the reason why. So that is the reason why we have the kanang mugamit na taog kanang WebSockets. So streaming, maura na siya. Kanang nasa mo tanong kag movies kana siya. Okay? So kanang mo tanong kag movies, automatic na web lima na. Next is Ajax. It is based on JavaScript. It is an object and it is abbreviated for
Oh, hello. Um, hmm, so check, hello.
Gamay. Live drill.
So, uh, so yeah, yeah. Shout out kay Janet Polonies. Na magpa-shoutout kay Christine May Habal.
Shout out Alvin Jose Orcorlio.
Rungag sorya.
Okay guys, live drill.
Withdraw.
Sorry, everyone. We have a. Okay na? Kadang duma?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mm. So we have. Wait, the last part is the HTML5. So this is a robust framework for developing and designing web applications. It is the main pillar includes markup, then the CSS, cascading, and JavaScript. So actually, kanang HTML5 is composed of markup, CSS, and JavaScript. We know already HTML5 kung magsugod din siya kani as in your header ninyo in your HTML or PHP automatic na siya nga it is using the HTML5. And why do we need to and why do we need WebSockets? Anong kailangan naman tag WebSockets? If we have this, robust naman na siya, di ba? HTML5. Why do we need to have a WebSockets? Internet was conceived to be a collection of hypertext markup language, the HTML, linking one another to form a conceptual web of information. During the course of time, static resources increase in numbers and richer items such as images began to be part of the web fabric. Server technology advanced which allow dynamic server pages whose content was generated based on a query. Soon the requirement to have more dynamic web pages lead to the availability of dynamic hypertext markup language or DHTML, all thanks to JavaScript. Over the following years, we saw cross-frame communication in an attempt to avoid page reloads followed by HTTP pooling with frames. However, none of these solutions offered to a truly standardized cross-browser solution to real-time bidirectional communication between a server and a client. This gives rise to the need of WebSocket protocols. It will give rise to a full duplex communication, bringing the desktop rich functionality to all web servers. So that is the reason why they introduces the WebSockets para ang imuhang web functionality nimo for all web browsers will be uh, rich or rich in functionality. So kung maingon ka nga sa imuhang web pages nimo or imong web pages nimo, ang iyahang kunya is real time. So it is interactive also. So unlike before nga ang kasagaran to sa tong HTML na to is not dynamic. Meaning kung kinsa tong sa web uh, kanang engineers or tig maintain sa inyong web ninyo, Not unless kung doon na siya i-change dito nga mga information, usap pa siya mo-change dayon. 'Di ba? Iya pang i-upload, iya pang i-save. But in the WebSockets, kung unsay imong gamiton karon, automatic in real time. So that is the use of the WebSockets. Now we will be focusing on that one, on the use of the WebSockets protocols. So for now, okay, this is our first meeting pa man. Kana sa naman sa atong introduction about web protocols. On the next meeting, we will introduce on how to activate or use web protocols, or sorry, WebSockets protocols. So atong introduce on how to use that one by using the HTML5. So ato ta mo una sa HTML5, then sunod is adto sa Java. So HTML5 apil atong apil atong JavaScript. Then sa Java then sunod. And that is for our next meeting. For now, can you write again anything in our chat box? Kay naputol mga ganina, so your attendance will not be recorded. Can you write something in our chat box? And once you're done, you can leave. Pwede naman ma-leave para sa atong klase karon. See you next meeting. Same time lang yapon.
Bye,
Ano,
sir.
sir?
Okay, bye.
Bye, sir.